My mindset is positive, you know. My loss, it's not like, you know, I lost real bad, but I mean, physically, you know, I feel good, and mentally too, I'm in a stable state. So I trained, you know, and had a positive, you know, mind. I really want to go in there and win this fight.
Come out and win.
How?
Be first. Do things that I know I'm good at, and let my hands go. Listen to my corner, and should be an easy fight. Not saying it's going to be like an easy fight like that, but if I do the things I know I can do and will do and work on doing, it's easy.
From the Vegas Strip, our main event, 10 rounds heavyweights. Friday, Ahunanya. The Nigerian moved to the U.S. in Las Vegas in '97. Teddy, what does the 33-year-old need to do to come up with a win in this, his adopted hometown?
Well, for Ahunanya, number one, don't make silent contracts. That means when you get inside, as you must, being the smaller man, do not put your hands behind him and hope he agrees not to work. Move your hands on the inside or you have no chance in this fight. Number two, things are looking up. At least they could if you would throw the uppercut on the inside, where Guinn is very susceptible to that punch because he sometimes falls in straight. Number three, if he moves, shoot him. Well, let's not get that drastic, but anytime he jabs, you should shoot your right hand. You won't miss. Guinn has a habit of leaning and falling forward as he jabs, leaving himself wide open for rights.
Well, Teddy, you've been in the corner opposite Dominick Guinn, and that means you study the ways to beat him, which means that you also know how he can beat you. How does he do it?
Number one, just throw, baby. Al Davis, owner of the Oakland Raiders, coined the phrase, just win, baby. Well, all the people involved with Guinn just want him to throw punches, and that will be enough to win tonight. Number two, doubles and triples, no singles. People want to see Guinn throw, and they want it to be in combinations, not one shot at a time. And finally, number three, jab, but then work off of it. You need to use your jab to set the table, but then you must go and eat. In this case, after the jab, do something else other than just falling inside.
Let's send it up to the ring to Jake Gutierrez.
Ladies and gentlemen, the main events in association with Caesars Palace, ESPN, and Budweiser are proud to present our featured bout of the evening, scheduled for 10 rounds of boxing in the heavyweight division. This bout is sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. The chairman is Skip Avancino Jr. Commissioners are Dr. Tony Alamo, John Bailey, Joe W. Brown, and Dr. Flip Homansky. The executive director is Mark Ratner. Our physicians at ringside, Dr. Al Capana and Dr. Stephen Brown. Our timekeepers are Jane Broadfoot and Steve Esposito. The three judges scoring our main event this evening will be Dwayne Ford, Chuck Giampa, and Jerry Roth. And your referee in charge is Tony Weeks. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from Caesars Palace, right here in exciting Las Vegas, Nevada, it's time for the leather to fly. This is the main event. Introducing first, he fights out of the red corner. He weighed in at 225 pounds. He's wearing the black trunks. His professional record stands at 20 victories with only 3 defeats and 1 draw, 11 big wins by knockout. Originally from Nigeria, he now lives and fights out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Ladies and gentlemen, here is fighting the 13th Ahunanya. And his opponent fighting out of the blue corner. He weighed in at 218 pounds. He's wearing black trimmed in red and gold. He has an outstanding professional record. 25 victories with only 2 defeats, 18 big wins by knockout. From Hot Springs, Arkansas, ladies and gentlemen, introducing Dominick, the Southern Disaster, Guinn.
10 rounds. Guinn, Ahunanya, Tony Weeks, your referee.
Okay, gentlemen, you both received your instructions in your dressing room. Okay, right here is good, anything else is going to be low. Right here is good, anything else is going to be low, okay? I want a good, clean fight. Obey my commands at all times. Above all, protect yourselves at all times. Let's go.
The ring experience between these two experienced heavyweights. Somewhat similar numbers. They do have a common opponent. It's Sergey Liakovic. They both lost to him by decision. Of course, Guinn's is a little bit of a fresher wound. It happened on December 3rd. And Teddy, it was a fight that was so greatly disappointing to everybody involved in his career.
Yes, it was. And as I said in the opening, you could see actions speak louder than words. And the actions of Guinn coming in 9 pounds lighter than in that fight has showed you that he realizes what he has to do. He had to work. He had to change something. He's come here up for this fight, understanding what's at hand, and most important, what is at stake in his career. You know, there's similarities besides the common opponent that both these fighters have lost to, like Liakovic. Both these guys, the knock on them is they've been conservative with their punch numbers, both of them. The big difference is Guinn, I believe, just has more ability in more areas. He's quicker. As you can see, he can use the ring. He's more mobile.
You talk about conservative with punch numbers. Back in February of 2003, the CompuBox keys were barely moving when he fought Terrence Lewis. Friday averaged only 27 punches per round, and the two fighters combined to land only 128 total punches over 10 rounds. Now, so far, just about halfway through this first round, well, at least he has thrown 20 punches.
Well, you go down to the and back to the old reliable when you're having problems. You go back to the fundamentals. And you can see the great team in the corner of Guinn. Mark Whelan, former world champion, one of the great amateurs of the United States history. Ronnie Shields, former #1 contender, junior welterweight. Also Brian Adams, tremendous amateur in that corner. Won 5 Golden Glove titles.
All-star corner.
They have Guinn going back to the reliable jab on the outside. That's one thing that you see early on. That left hand is pumping. It's moving. He hasn't started doing other things behind it yet, as we talked in the tips. He's setting the table with the jab. Now time will tell whether or not he goes and he eats.
Let him go. Stop, stop.
One of the things that you don't want to see with Guinn, at least in my humble opinion, is for him to use that left hand, Joe, on the outside, but not do anything off it, and then just fall quietly like that on the inside.
Want to see him fire off that right?
That's not what you want to see. You want to see the jab used to create something, not used to create haven on the inside. That you don't want to see. Not in a fighter who's moving forward, who's looking to get to a world championship. You want to see something more ambitious than that.
Saw so much of that back in 2003 when he knocked out Michael Grant, when he defeated Duncan Dokaware. He was the hot shot. He was the chosen one. The next great heavyweight, Dominick Guinn, who won rounds.
The new Crunchwrap Supreme.
There's the Southern disaster, Dominick Guinn. He was so highly regarded as an amateur and then turned pro 4.5 years ago. Was the hot prospect in the heavyweight division before suffering 2 losses in his last 3 fights that now has him working his way back up. You see the punches in round number 1. 12 out of 39 for Guinn. Friday, only 9% of his punches landed. Threw 37 jabs did Friday, didn't land one of them.
Again, some similarities that you don't want to have as similarities between Ahunanya and Dominick Guinn. Both punch numbers, conservative styles. But tonight, one of the differences, Guinn taking it outside, getting that jab moving a little bit.
There's that right hand finally, Teddy. You were looking for that.
Well, to me, if it's going to be a step forward for Guinn tonight, win or lose, a successful move up, you're going to have to see more of that. Creating offense off of the jab.
Talked about Guinn's amateur days. Had great success. Golden Gloves national champ back in '99. U.S. National Amateur Champ in '98. Well, Friday had some success back in his native Nigeria from '92 to '97. He won the heavyweight national amateur championship every single year. Of course, Ika Diabuche, Sam Peter. We've seen plenty of good heavyweights come out of Nigeria.
You know, we talked about Guinn. He's showing something coming in here. Again, he falls inside. That's not what you want to see from Guinn. And that's not what you want to see from Ahunanya, whose only chance is probably to win on the inside. He's not as quick and not as versatile to do it on the outside with Dominick Guinn. So when you see Ahunanya fall inside and do that and put his hand behind Guinn, you know that he's doing one of the things we didn't want to see, and we talked about in the tip. He's making a silent deal. He's saying, you don't hit me, I won't hit you. And you don't want to see that from a professional fighter of this kind of experience level. And again, from Guinn, you don't want to see him working on the outside and do that. Even though he's got the edge on the outside. Now, you admit that. He'll win the fight this way if it keeps going this way anyway. But you're not thinking about tonight, Joe. You're thinking about tomorrow with other opponents. If you're going to step forward and make this business make sense for you, where you can compete with the top dogs. And for Guinn, if he's going to do that, and that's going to become a possibility and a reality, he has to do more than just fall in on the inside. He's got to do something else and work.
Friday charging forward, the end of round number 2, scheduled for 10. Joe Tessitore and Teddy Atlas with you from Caesars Palace. Teddy, we've been out here all week at this magnificent facility, and I know it brings back a lot of memories for you, and it's been a very special week, an emotional week, especially today on this anniversary, 11 years ago today, the pinnacle of your career, when you were in the corner and you led Michael Moorer to the heavyweight championship of the world.
Well, Michael Moorer gave me, he deserves all the credit, not me. He gave me the opportunity to have and to be able to say that I trained the heavyweight champ. Michael, thank you for that opportunity. It is an anniversary. It was 11 years ago today that he beat Holyfield in that fight. And he did more than that. He came back after losing the title, and he came back and won it a second time in Germany. So I want to thank you for that. And I also want to say and report that Michael called me today and said he's going to retire. Michael, I give you credit for that. I wish you nothing but luck in your career as a trainer now, and I'm glad you're leaving the sport with the same respect as you always gave it. Congratulations, good luck, and again, thank you, Michael, for giving me the chance to say that I trained the heavyweight champ. Thank you.
And Teddy, that's some big news and well stated. That Michael Moorer called you today. He said he wanted you to be the first to know that he is retiring. We'll talk about that here. Joe Tessitore and Teddy Atlas, Brian Kenny, Jeremy Schaap with you from Caesars Palace. Friday night fights. Friday, Ahunanya and Dominick Guinn. Ahunanya, 9 out of 17. Guinn, 9 out of 16. In their power punches through the first 2 rounds. They both averaging only 8 power shots thrown per round. We'll see if they can pick up the pace. We've told you that Guinn at times has been hesitant, especially in his troubles in the past year. Friday, many times throughout his career, has had low punch stats.
I got you.
Guinn trying to rededicate himself. Work his way back into the picture of the heavyweight division.
You know, earlier, Brian Kenny had Chuck Esposito, who lays the lines here in Vegas at Caesars Palace. Does a great job, sharp guy. If you could lay lines as the fight was going on, and you were doing that in this fight, Ahunanya would be diminishing. Every time he gets on the inside, he does that. He allows himself to tie up. So the line would not go up in favor of Ahunanya seeing that, because his best chance to win, being a shorter man and a slower man and a plodding man, is when he gets inside, he's got to move those short arms. He's got to use some of that strength, and he does have strength, but he can't do it that way. Allow himself to be tied up and cooperating in that situation.
Come on.
And again, it's not just tonight you're looking at. If you're one of the backers of Dominick Guinn, you're looking to see who can he beat in this division to get to a world title, to get to a place where it makes sense in this very difficult business. And that's one of the ways he's got to do it, off that jab with the right hand. Stop. He can't just fall in.
That 1-2 served him well. He had one in the second round, too. There's the right hand driving down after doubling up the jab from Dominick Guinn. Well, in terms of the heavyweight division, you know, when I sit back here this weekend and I look at Dominick Guinn, I say to myself, boy, he must be kicking himself in the rear over the fact that tomorrow night it's Calvin Brock who is in the ESPN pay-per-view fighting Jameel McCline, because really, for all intents and purposes, with a quality win over Sergey Liakovich, that Monty Barrett loss would have been the only bump in the road and the only blip on the screen. He probably would have been a pay-per-view fighter.
It was all there, and it can still be there. But for him to do it, he's got to get out of the habit of doing what you're watching and our viewers are watching right now. Allowing himself to jab and then do nothing on the inside.
What a setting. Caesars Palace outdoors, flush up against the Vegas Strip for Friday night fights. Joe Tessitore and Teddy Atlas, Jeremy Schaap with you. The punches through round 3. Friday, only 12 out of 118 thrown, just 10% landed. Win 33 out of 104. Wynn's only averaging 34 punches a round thrown. Ahunanya, 4 out of 39 would be his round average. Teddy Atlas' scorecard, 30 to 27. Off balance that time as they locked up arms. Teddy, after the 3rd round, we listened into the corner of Dominick Guinn, and Ronnie Shields was saying, double up the jab, drive through with the right hand. Double up the jab, sit down on the punch with the right hand. Constant theme.
Once again, Ahunanya not helping himself, being the shorter man, the slower man. He finally gets to a place. It's like being at sea for a long time. You finally see land. Get on shore. Ahunanya finally gets inside with the quicker man like now. Move your hands. Ahunanya not doing that. May find himself a step behind all night long with Guinn on the outside using the jab. You have a good jab, and Guinn has a decent jab. And you have the ability to move a little bit, which Guinn does. You couldn't ask for a better foil than Ahunanya. Guy who's slow, one-dimensional, walks forward, doesn't really snap a jab, pushes a jab.
You know where to find him.
Gives you the landscape to stay on the outside and outbox him.
Both came forward that time. Friday finally throwing something on the inside.
You could see one of the potential problems for Guinn right there, and I'm sure you can watch for it, and our cameraman will pick it up for you as we go on. But watch Guinn, Joe, as he jabs. He'll fall in when he throws 1. When he throws 2, he's okay. But when he throws 1, he falls in. He tilts forward. He gets top heavy like that. That time you put the right hand behind it, so it kept Ahunanya defensive. He couldn't exploit it. But watch, there's 2 jabs for Guinn. When he throws jabs at 2 at a time, he smothers the right hand of Ahunanya, and he's safe. But when he throws 1, he falls in, he tilts in, and he leaves himself open for a counter right hand from Ahunanya.
We haven't seen Friday Ahunanya take advantage of it thus far as we come to the end of round number 4 on Friday Night Fights. 30-year-old Dominick Guinn, just a year ago, heralded as the next great heavyweight. Now, trying to bounce back from a career pothole he stepped into in Sergey Liakovich. Round number 5 against Friday Ahunanya. Guinn in the black with red and gold trim. Friday in the black with white trim. Look at the punch numbers from round number 4. Guinn, Teddy, just flat out not busy enough. Only threw 24 punches.
The last round, we eavesdropped a little bit on Dominick Guinn in the corner, talking to his terrific trainer, Ronnie Shields, saying that his left eye was bothering him a little bit.
Ronnie, Joe and Teddy with you. What's the deal with Dominick?
He's okay. You know, he's just, you know, he's starting to get lackadaisical a little bit now. You know, he just, sometimes he gets that way, you know. So maybe, you know, we're trying to get him to keep him on the outside with the jab, and everything will be fine.
I noticed that right away, Ronnie, that you got him using the jab, keeping distance more this fight, but I'm sure that you're still frustrated that he's not doing anything off the jab.
Right, you know, Teddy, we worked on jabbing and shooting the uppercut and hooking off of that. Like when the guy go down like that, but he's not throwing uppercuts now. I told him the first couple rounds, don't worry about the uppercuts. But now, you know, I told him after about 4 rounds, he's going to have to start using uppercuts with the guy. Now the guy's starting to get down because he want to get close.
Ronnie, get back to work. We thank you for your time. Ronnie Shields, the trainer of Dominick Guinn, the former junior welterweight contender. Of course, Ronnie was looking forward to having Juan Diaz in action this week, another Houston guy. Diaz cut last week in sparring. Fight with Evo Elder off the card. Tremendous, tremendous pay-per-view card in this very arena tomorrow night. The return of Sugar Shane Mosley against David Estrada, Calvin Brock, Jameel McCline heavyweights, and of course the much anticipated main event. Two of the hardest puncher in Kermit Cintrone against one of the very best in the world, Antonio Margarito. That's all tomorrow on ESPN pay-per-view. We hope you join us for that.
You know, Joe, you see, as you were talking, you saw 3 times that both fighters got inside and all they did was clinch. You know, if you were a guy that was allergic to inside punching, if you actually had an allergy to inside work, you could watch this fight and probably never sneeze.
That's a great point, Teddy. It would fill the prescription well.
There it is. No need to say anything else.
And it has been the story with Dominick Guinn for the past year. Not busy enough. Will he get busy? We head to round 6 after this. Welcome back to Friday Night Fights from Caesars Palace. Outdoors flush against the Vegas Strip at the Roman Plaza Amphitheater. Joe Tessitore and Teddy Avlos with you. Round number 6 between Friday, Ahunanya, and Dominick Guinn. You see Friday an 8-4 connect advantage. Once again, the numbers on Guinn really dismal. He's landed 3 of 12 power shots in the last 2 rounds. And look at the numbers as they diminish as the fight moves onward, Teddy. That is the complete antithesis of what they wanted tonight from the Guinn team.
The only reason that, and it's a solid reason, but the only reason why Guinn has the edge, and I believe he does have the edge on the scorecards in each round so far tonight, he's a little quicker, and he's able to show another dimension. He's able to take it outside and use the ring, use a little bit of footwork, mobility to get punches off. Where Ahunanya, for the most part, is in 3rd gear. Very slow, very predictable, follows Guinn, does not cut the ring down, and allows himself to be outworked. Even if it's not a huge work rate, allows himself to be outworked that way, on the outside.
See Teddy's scorecard, 5 rounds to none for Dominick Guinn. Friday just hasn't offered much up either. In a way, kind of watching this fight this evening to see if Dominick Guinn can get back to form. With all due respect to Friday and his efforts put forth, most have been monitoring Dominick Guinn with regards to the rest of the heavyweight division.
There's 2 areas where Ahunanya can still grab a little bit of this fight. One of them, the simplest, most apparent and obvious one, is there on the inside, but he can't do it if he makes those silent agreements by putting his hands behind Guinn. He needs to keep those hands in front and make up his mind he's going to work when he gets inside. When he finally makes up that disadvantage of size and range that is created on the outside by Guinn. Once again, this is where Ahunanya can start to climb into this fight if he keeps those shoulders rotating and makes a choice to work, not get tied up.
Of course, the ESPN pay-per-view tomorrow night. 8 boxers taking big risks, a lot of nerves tonight with the anticipation. Shane Mosley Estrada, Cintrone Margarito, and Jameel McCline Calvin Brock. And what do you do before the biggest night of your life? Well, if you're Calvin Brock, you spend some quality time with our Jeremy Schaap.
There are better things, I'm sure, that Calvin could be doing, Joe. Obviously the biggest night of your career tomorrow night against Jameel McCline. How will you be spending the next 24 hours?
Well, after this boxing match ends with Dominick and Friday Ahunanya, I'm going to go to bed, and then tomorrow I'll wake up and eat 3 meals before I box and rest in between and come in strong and ready to go.
Convincing win in January against Clifford Etienne down in Houston. What do you take from that win into the fight tomorrow night?
Better fundamentals. I look back at the boxing match with Clifford Etienne. I'm always learning. I'm always in school, and I saw some things I could improve on, and I improved on those things, and you'll see a better Calvin Brock tomorrow night.
What are you going to improve on?
Well, my balance, the way I deliver my punches, head movement, my speed, quickness, I'm lighter. Everything is going to be better.
Calvin, good luck. Thanks very much. Back down to Joe and Teddy.
Thanks, Jeremy. A very important fight in the heavyweight division between Calvin Brock and Jameel McCline. If McCline wins, well, he's already a top-ranked guy, a title-contending guy. He just kind of cements himself in that place that, hey, give me another title shot. I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere. And I just beat a guy that plenty of people thought well of. If you're Calvin Brock, well, now with a win over a top 10 heavyweight Jameel McCline, you have an unbeaten heavyweight with a lot of momentum. Something the division needs, by the way.
Did I understand Calvin correctly? Did he say that these guys were putting him to bed?
That's exactly said after this fight, but I believe maybe they were putting him to bed.
Sleep well, Calvin.
In that 6th round, we should take a look at the punch stats. Guinn landed 6 of 19 jabs and 9 of 34 total punches. You see the percentages very low, 13% and 28% respectively for Ahunanya and Guinn.
You know, I mentioned the last round there's 2 opportunities for Ahunanya to get back in this fight. One, I said, was the obvious. When he gets inside, he's got to work. The other is to time Guinn, the taller man, as he comes in. To time him with a good shot where he can score off a counter. Now, when Guinn doubles up the jab, for our fans to watch at home, there's not a big opportunity for Ahunanya to really counter with that right hand because he gets smothered with the double jab. But when there's a single jab, and you can see that Ahunanya had that in mind when he saw that single jab and he just missed. When there's a single jab from Guinn, every once in a while Guinn will tilt in, fall in, and there Guinn tries to time Ahunanya coming forward. And he gets an opportunity because Ahunanya does not come in behind that cover of a jab. He just walks in too often naked. But there is an opportunity, and once again, neither fighter making a choice. They take control of this fight and go to work on the inside.
You know, making that choice is very well put because Dominick Guinn needed to make a lot of choices throughout the course of the past 3 years. But for some reason, he tells you one thing, but there's a disconnect between making that choice and displaying the actions of it.
Well, once again, you saw a minute ago, he threw the jab, he being Guinn, and let the right hand go behind it. But he did not keep good position where he could do anything other than a right hand. And his trainer, Ronnie Shields, wants him to come back with that hook. He can't do that because watch his feet. He allows them to fall in. He does not keep those feet set where he's in offensive position to throw a third punch. He can only do that, fall in, rest, and wait for the referee to break him and get back outside. When he throws that right hand or that jab, he should not square up and fall in. Should keep his position where he can punch.
3 rounds to go between these heavyweights. Welcome back to Friday Night Fights. Joe Tessitore, Teddy Atlas, Jeremy Schaap, and our host Brian Kenny with you from this spectacular, beautiful evening here in Las Vegas. Outdoors at Caesars Palace, which will be home to tomorrow night's inaugural ESPN pay-per-view. Look at the punch stats in round 7 between Friday Ahunanya and Dominick Guinn. 10-5 for Guinn. Punches landed. Look at these abysmal numbers. 62-34. Guinn. The good news in the 7th round for Guinn was that he landed 75% of his power shots thrown. The bad news, he only threw 4 of them, landing 3.
You know what, we have a little bit of a low in the action, and I think I can depend on a little bit of a low in the action right now. I'd like for all of us to thank our terrific host here at Caesars Palace, Debbie Munch, the Vice President of Public Relations, and her boss, Mark Giuliano, have done a great job, Joe. I know you agree with really making us very comfortable for the last 4 days here.
Teddy, you know what's good? You know what's good is Caesars Palace commitment to the boxing business again, because when you think back to the 1980s and the sensational fights that just captured America's attention, you think outdoors at Caesars Palace. And of course, so many of those fights included Sugar Ray Leonard, the win over Hearns, the win over Hagler, and he will be Brian Kenny's guest analyst tomorrow for the ESPN pay-per-view. It was good to visit with Ray earlier today. Look forward to his insights tomorrow with Brian Kenny.
Again, not a difficult formula here. Ahunanya gets inside, not having trouble, the shorter man getting close to the taller man, but not showing the discipline, quite honestly. Sorry to speak that frank, but not showing the discipline of a fighter who's going to go to the higher echelons of this division without having the ability to make himself work on the inside, when that's exactly, precisely what he has to do if he wants to win this fight.
Teddy, Dominick Guinn is not just fighting Friday Ahunanya. He's fighting the boxing critics in the boxing industry also, because everybody is taking a good look at him and seeing where he currently stands.
This is a night where, and that's a good point, we talked about it on the top, on the opening, this is a night where it's probably not enough for Guinn to just win. He needs to win and look good if he wants to take his place that he once had.
Agreed, Teddy. 2 rounds to go.
The top heavyweights in the world, Chris Bird. What are you up to, Chris? Any fights? What's happening with you?
Just waiting.
Just wait. And bulking up. You're becoming a super heavyweight.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm not too big, though.
Who do you like, Tony Ruiz?
Ruiz. I think over 12 rounds.
Really?
He could do some damage. But it's going to be a good fight, though.
Before we go here, Dominick Guinn, what are your thoughts?
You need to be more busier. Yep. You need to be a busier fighter. Keeps him at the top heavyweight level.
Hey, guys, Chris is up here for you. Joe, Teddy, take it away.
Oh, thank you very much, Brian. Chris, good to have you with us. Joe and Teddy here, round number 9. Friday Ahunanya and Dominick Guinn. Friday in the black with white trim. Guinn the black with gold and red, the storyline. Same storyline we had in December. Guinn trying to resurrect his career, trying to get back in the mix, but he's not busy enough. It's just not happening. Chris, would love to get your thoughts on a fight that a lot of people are looking forward to tomorrow night right here at Caesars Palace on ESPN pay-per-view. You're coming off the fight with Jameel McCline. Now McCline is in against the undefeated Calvin Brock. Break it down for us, Chris Burr.
Well, it's going to be a great fight. You got a young, undefeated Calvin Brock, like you said. I know he's going to be hungry. A major step up. If he wins, he's in the mix. If he loses, well, nobody expected him to win. But for Jameel McCline, I mean, it's a big fight for him. It gets him right back in the title hunt. And, you know, he's a big guy. And he's a hard puncher, believe me. And he has great skills. So it's an interesting matchup. You know, the winner is right in the mix. So it's great for both guys.
Chris, it's Teddy here. How you doing, Chris? All right?
Doing good.
Good to see you. Listen, the people have made McCline a favorite. He's the favorite on the board here. And obviously the reason for it, we all know, because of his advantage and professional experience. But people are forgetting about all the experience that Brock has in the amateurs, having represented the United States in the 2000 game. How important is that experience, and how important will that experience be for Brock tomorrow?
Well, it's very important to have a lot of amateur fights and a lot of amateur experience. But Jameel McCline has been on this top level of the heavyweights, and this is Calvin Brock's first big shot at the top guy. So it's you know, it's a little more difficult for Calvin Brock to really, you know, conquer Jameel McCline because of the experience of Jameel at that level. So, you know, it's a difficult fight, but you know, you got to lean towards Jameel. He's a big, strong guy, and he's very hungry also.
IBF heavyweight champion Chris Bird, thank you so much for your time. Look forward to seeing you throughout the weekend here for this ESPN pay-per-view spectacular tomorrow night.
Now, right there you saw again, Joe, when he's gives you a little tease. He's using the jab and he shoots the right hand. And then you say, well, why do we see anything else? Like his trainer, Ronnie Shields, and Mark Whelan, they want to see a hook behind that. Just look at his feet, and you don't have to ask any more questions. When Guinn throws that jab in the right hand, his right foot falls in, and he loses position. Like that. And that time, he just smothers himself. He can outwork.
10th and final round outside here at Caesars Palace on the Vegas Strip. Friday, Ahunanya and Dominick Guinn. Teddy, let's revisit your fight plan, and I have a feeling you're going to be grading out a lot of Fs.
Well, there it is. For Guinn, it wasn't complicated. Just throw, baby. He's thrown the jab. Not much more. Doubles and triples, no singles. We've gotten double jabs, but we haven't gotten many triples from that right hand or that hook. Jab, then work off it. That's one place that you get an F or an F minus. He jabbed, but he did not do enough work off it, falling in too often with the right hand.
An F minus. I like that. For Friday?
Well, for Friday, I wish that Saturday would come.
Can't come soon enough for many.
To be quite frank with you, don't make silent contracts. He made them all night long. Got inside, put his hands behind Guinn. You don't work, I will work. They did not work. Things are looking up. Did not use the uppercut when Guinn laid on the inside. If he moves, shoot him. That meant when Guinn falls in with that jab, shoot the right hand. Ahunanya did not do much of that.
But for many, somewhat expected from Friday, Ahunanya, the Nigerian native who came to this country, had some decent efforts throughout his career. A well-thought-of sparring partner, but a man whose best win was back in 2001 against former Olympian Nate Jones, and is coming off of 2 straight losses. He was knocked out by Lance Whitaker and then lost a 12-round decision on March 11th to Taurus Sykes.
You know, you look at this young man, Guinn. Now he's getting up a little older. He's 30 years old, and you say he's got all the physical attributes. He has the amateur background. He had over 300 amateur fights, 3-time national amateur champion. And you just say, what is it? What's wrong? Why is he not doing more? And you start to have to come to the answer that it's got to do with as much, if not more, mental than it does anything physical. And completely. One of the things you think about, I remember in the pre-fight bios, he talked about his contract with his manager, Shelly Finkel, running out, and wants people to know he's looking for a new manager. You know, what I'm saying is there's obviously a lot of things on this young man's mind that is keeping him from letting loose with the potential that so many people thought he had.
Summed up by what we heard after the 9th round from his trainer, Ronnie Shields, when he looks at him and says, just tell me why you're not throwing punches. Why? There's a disconnect. That's the only way I can describe it. He has the career, the tools, the skills. He's shown it in the past. But all of a sudden, in the last 12 months, it just hasn't been there. Even though maybe he's controlled the action against a very, very mid-level opponent in Friday, Ahunanya, here tonight. I think we can declare it. Guinn may come up with a win here, but he is no longer a player in the heavyweight division. We will come back to Friday night fights in Caesars Palace right after this. Stay with us. Maybe the world's best boxing scene, Caesars Palace on the Vegas Strip, home to ESPN Friday night fights. And of course, there are a lot of numbers that affect people on the Vegas Strip. Most of them affect my wallet, but these are the most dismal numbers I've seen all week. Friday never hit double digits in connects all night long. 84-50 total punch edge for Dominick Guinn. Just awful punch stat numbers. Teddy Atlas's scorecard, 10 rounds to none for Guinn. Let's hear what Jake Gutierrez has to say.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds in the heavyweight division, we go to the scorecard. Judge Jerry Roth scored this bout 97-93 for Guinn. Judges Dwayne Ford and Chuck Giampa scored the bout the same, and 95-95. This bout has been declared a majority draw.
I guess they don't think anyone deserved it.
I think they're right. Nobody deserved to win there.
The only guy who deserved it might have been Tony Weeks, the referee, who did a terrific job in a, as you said, a dismal fight.
Well, Dominick Guinn averaged only 8 connects a round. Friday, Ahunanya averaged only 5 connects a round. It is a majority draw. Dominick Guinn didn't get what he was looking for. Brian Kenny, I think you can officially remove Dominick Guinn's name of the list of contenders.
And yet, Joe, I tell you what, I'm stunned that